All right, what is happening, everybody? Welcome to Lessons from Leaders. I'm super excited today to have my very good friend Tara Shim on with us. And one of the things that I love, one of my favorite sayings is you're the average of the five people you spend the most time with. And Tara is one of those people that ups my average, and she's got an amazing story to share, which we'll go through, and tons of wisdom about that road and all of the things, the different trials and tribulations to get her where she is today. And so, welcome, Tara. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Dylan, for having me.
Awesome. So let's just get started. Let's jump right in with the story. Like, where did it all begin? Tell us maybe like the first 18 years in a couple of minutes, and then we'll get into the rest of it after that.
Yeah, well, I was born and raised here in Kailo Kona on the Big Island of Hawaii, and I come from a very loving family. My mom and my dad split up when I was probably about 6 years old. So my mom raised me and my sister as a single parent, but we came from a lot of love. Like she always worked really hard to provide for us, and I remember we didn't have much, but she bought me a Monopoly game when I was 9, and that was the only game I had. So every day after school, my best friend and I would walk home and play Monopoly every single day. And it was four greenhouses, one red hotel, pass go, collect your $200. And because we never had any money, I was all about it. I felt so rich holding that paper money and buying properties. And I didn't realize it back then, but that was such a solid career path is Monopoly, a simple little game of, going around the board, buying properties, renting them out, collecting the rents, putting four greenhouses, one red hotel. That was like my foundation of real estate investing back then. And as I grew older, I worked at Borders Books and Music in my teens, like 16, 17 years old. I started working there. And I read a lot of the Robert Kiyosaki books that came out. They were on the New York Times bestseller, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant. I read those books at that age and I knew instantly, like, I really want this. He talks about passive income through business and real estate. And for a local girl, shy local girl from Kona that didn't go to college or anything, I was like, how do I do that? So I start working and we buy the cash flow game that Robert Kiyosaki put out. And at the time it was like $250. So five of us bought it. We would get together once a month and potluck and play this game. It was like Monopoly on steroids. So it has a balance sheet, your income, and you go around the rat race collecting your paycheck and trying to buy real estate or businesses for passive income or that residual income where you're not working for the money anymore, the money's working for you. And so that made me even more excited, and I got obsessed on how can you do that, how is that even possible. And so what I did was I started working. I worked at a luxury resort on the coast, and I just started working, and I thought more money was the answer. And I realized real quick when I started building my very first home in 2005 that I couldn't qualify because I had debt. I had a car payment, I had credit cards. And I was like, man, I just want to buy a home or build a home. That was my dream. And I was able to do that because my employer at the time gave me $20,000 for a down payment. So I couldn't buy a house at that time with my income. So I decided to build one. And I tapped into every single resource I had. My aunties, my uncles, my cousins, whoever was in a trade that could build a home was there to help me. So it was my biggest win and my biggest loss because I always wanted to build a home. And I did it. It wasn't my dream home, but it was a home. And as soon as I was done building it, I enclosed my garage and rented that for passive income, right? That was always the goal. That was always the foundation. And so my kid's dad and I at the time lived in the brand new house, the 3-bedroom, 2-bath part. And I told him, hey, we're moving back to Kona and we're going to rent out the 3-bedroom, 2-bath part after just like a year of me building that home. And he was mad. He was like, what, why, and he didn't see the vision or understand what I was going after, that passive income. So we moved back to Kona in my grandma's coffee land shack. If you know, you know. Coffee land shacks are not the most glamorous, but it was in that moment that I knew that I needed to build another home for passive income. So that was in 2007. We get married. I have my
But
daughter.
you're willing to sacrifice, right? This is a big thing. Was like you had the home built, brand new house, and you're willing to move back into a coffee shack to continue to chase the dream.
Oh, for sure. It was a huge sacrifice and one that only I could see. Nobody else could see that but me. And because we already had the home, and this was in 2005, 6, the market was going crazy right before the mortgage meltdown. So the equity in that home was crazy. I pulled out over $200,000 out of that home, and I started building my second home. And I bought 3 acres of land with my best friend, one of my best friends. So we still have that lot till today. And right before that, though, before I had my second girl in 2009 and built that second home, I was introduced to 101 Financial. And that was the big missing piece to my puzzle, from going from I really want to buy properties to this is the bridge to get me to that place. And my friend told me, hey, Tara, what if
So up until this point, you're just figuring it out. You don't have any like formal education. You don't have a system. You don't have a proven process. You just like slogging through.
100% just on a prayer. And I'm sure everybody thought that I was just crazy, right? Because I just knew I had that vision and that goal of passive income through real estate, because I wasn't really a good business person. I didn't know much about business. And I really was like, why don't they even teach us about finances in school? So when I got introduced to 101 Financial, my friend was like, what if I could teach you how to pay off your mortgage in a third of the time? And so of course I was like, well, that's a no-brainer. 10 years versus 30 years. I'm all in. What do I need to do? So I joined 101 Financial. I start paying down a ton of debt super quick. And it wasn't really that I was making a ton of money. It was more so me learning how to manage my money, learning a smarter system, something super simple, but taking action. And then once I started it, paying down debt, I told everybody about it. My mom, my sister, anybody that would listen, all my friends. And my mentor, Alan Aquino, he's the CEO of the company. He gave me the opportunity to teach. And so I started teaching financial education when my daughter was 1 year old. And it was tough. I was working a full-time job, coming home, or actually not even coming home, going straight to people's homes or meeting them at the park or Jamba Juice, and sitting on those tables for hours, explaining to them how they're banking, why this is a better way of banking, what to do with their money, how to do this, how to save time, money, and interest. And that was a big, huge missing piece to a lot of the puzzle of like that financial stress, so it worked for me. It changed my life. I was determined to share this with everybody that I could.
I
So
want to I want to ask you about the mindset in going down that road. A lot of people are very pessimistic and they're very suspect when like they hear it. Like, it almost sounds like a scam, right? Hey, you can pay off your mortgage in one third the time or whatever. Have you always just been an optimistic, positive person that said, hey, that sounds like a good idea, I'll try that? Or like, what was your mindset? Did it sound too good to be true? Or, what made you make the decision that this is what I'm going to do, and not have that apprehension like, oh, this sounds too good to be true?
for sure, I've always been like optimistic, but I had to hear for myself. So I went to her house, I listened to the whole presentation, and I was like, wait, what? Because I saw that I was losing money and I don't like to lose. And I realized that I was losing hundreds of thousands of dollars, not just like a little bit of money. I was losing a lot of money over the course of the years, and I didn't want to lose anymore. And that's what made me say, you know what, let me try this. And at the time, my ex-husband was all like not even for it. He didn't want to go in on it at all. And so I kind of just did it on my own, and it started working. And we started paying down a ton of debt, $420,000 worth of debt when I first started. And that was a combination of mortgage, truck, boat, credit cards, all the things. And it was a lot of bad debt though. And thank God I had the one home that we built, and then we started building a second because I leveraged that. But the mindset, because it always sounded too good to be true. But as I was teaching the classes, once people understood it, they were like, whoa, I wish I knew about this sooner, because I would have saved myself so much money, so much time, and so much interest. And that's, if I had $1 for every time that somebody told me that, I'd be so rich. But yeah, I've always been optimistic. So I listened, and Alan Aquino, I knew him before 101 Financial. So I knew like this local guy, like he's legit. He's not going to scam everybody. He'd be run out of town if it was not good. So I just jumped in wholeheartedly because I was so in tune with finances and money, because I never had any. So I just dove in and just started teaching as many people as I could for years. For the last 15 years, I've been teaching with them. And it's been a huge, I want to say, opportunity for me, not only for to be able to teach people, but for personal development for myself, because this shy little girl from Kona, was up on stages talking in front of hundreds of people. I've met with thousands of families, shared my story, empowered them, inspired them, and I continue now to educate people on a bigger level when it comes to buying homes, leveraging their properties, or even just getting into their first property. The mindset is the number one thing. If you think you can or you can't, you're right. So that's one of the biggest challenges, is the mindset. But I always had an open mind to try things out. And that was from my mom. She always made us try different things.
So going back, I want to go back though, because we kind of breezed through the like going from building your first house to doing the instructor thing, but it wasn't a smooth road the whole way, right? It wasn't just like a straight line to success. So let's kind of go back and talk about, you build the first house and you move back to Kona. Like, what does that the next couple of years look like?
So yeah, that's in 2006-ish. I moved back to Kona. We get married. I have my first daughter, 2007. 2008, I joined 101 Financial. I start teaching with them. 2009, I have my second daughter. We build our second home. And then the market is crashing, right? The market is tanking. And I am upside down on this first home that I built. So I pulled out a lot of money. So the good thing is that I was able to build my second home and buy 3 acres. But then I find myself upside down in my mortgage. So I'm forking out $1,000 a month on top of the rent that I'm collecting from the 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and the studio on that house, because I'm underwater, right?
So not passive income anymore.
Oh no, not at all. And I am like, I'm struggling. I'm stressed. I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I doing this with 2 kids? And then 2013 rolls around and I am in an unhealthy marriage. Like,
So you did this for years. Like you hung on for years, like didn't give up right away. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like working 2-3 jobs, like I said, doing financial education after work, working full time, just 2-3 jobs sometimes, just whatever it took to just keep paying the bills and thinking that I'm doing great, right? Thank God I got that financial education though, because in 2013, I find myself pulling the plug on my marriage. I'm like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I filed for divorce. And here I am, 2 girls, 4 and 5 years old, 2 homes, having to pay an extra $1,000 a month on one home that I don't even live in. And so I call Alan and I'm like, hey, I don't know what to do. And he said, well, you have 3 options. Number 1, you can do nothing. Number 2, you can keep doing what you're doing and kill yourself. Or number 3, cut your losses and continue on, like things will get better eventually. So I did that. And I said, okay, fine. So I get rid of the husband. I get rid of the house, the first house. So that's my biggest win and biggest loss, is because everybody, my whole family came up, was painting, did the roof, the concrete, like built the home for me. Like it just hurt me so much to see that all that hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, I had to let go, right? But letting go was part of the lesson, because I couldn't do it anymore and it was stressful. So after that, I quit my job at the luxury resort. I totally pivot. I go and work for a lumber company in town. And that's where I meet the love of my life now. Like, we've been together for 10 years. And 10 years ago, my life was not like how it was today. And it's because I have somebody who supports me in everything I do now. He believes in me. He helps me. I mean, a total shift from the relationship that I was in before. And then from there, I start working at that lumber company, and my best friend, another one of my best friends, worked there. And so we hook up, and I'm like, sis, why haven't you built a home? You have access to all this material. And she's like, I want to, I just don't know how. I'm like, let me help you. Like, let's partner up and we'll do it together. So me and her build a home together, and we turn around and sell that. And I probably made more money than I made in a whole year of work on that one home. So I am like hooked. I'm like, I need to definitely keep doing this. So my boyfriend at the time, like, we had the same lunch break. So he would take me to lunch every single day for months. And so we get together and he's like, I want to buy a house. I thought I would have a house by the time I was 30. And so I was like, let's do it. You need to sacrifice. And that was the biggest thing. It was the mindset. I was like, you need to get rid of this brand new Toyota Tacoma. You need to get qualified. And by the grace of God, I was talking to one of the contractors at work, and he was like, yeah, I built a house like 9 years ago. It sat vacant this whole time because during the crash, nobody bought it, and the investors are in the mainland, so you can go check it out. He gave me the key. We drove down. It's in a small town where my other half is from, and he bought that house. And we lived in that for a little bit. And what did we do? Turn around and rent that out for passive income too. And that's just what springboarded like everything that I've learned through Monopoly, 101 Financial, and just taking action. The sacrifices, we had to sell some things, or my brand new Forerunner that was lifted with rims and tires, like sacrifice so that I could buy another home that was a foreclosure for under $70,000. And that is crazy to me. I bought a home and we did a burr on that. We bought it, we renovated it, we rented
What's
it.
a burr?
So BRRRR is buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat. And so I've been doing all these things like house hacking. My first house was a house hack because I rented out half of that house. The burr for this foreclosure home, and I was doing it and not realizing that that's basically what it was. So I've been investing for all these years, but only recently have I really honed in, and we just acquired a whole bunch more homes in the last like 5 or 10 years since I've been with Leo. So it's been an amazing journey. Like today you see fabulous Tara, but the hardship that I went through to get there, to do a short sale in my home, to go through a divorce, to be a single parent for my 2 girls, to just work really, really hard to build up today. Like we've had over a dozen properties now, and it's insane to look back just 10 years and see I went from, almost losing everything to living truly the dream, where today I get to do what I want when I want. I bought back more of my time because of that passive or residual income that I get every 30 days. The money comes into my account. I don't have to trade my time for that anymore. And I get to do what I love, where, even buying and selling real estate. I didn't really dream of having my real estate license. I was just bored in 2020 at home and decided to take the class, and I passed the class. So I got my license, and then my friends and family were like, hey, can you help me buy this house or sell my home? And I was like, absolutely, let's do it. So I just kind of fell into it because real estate was always my passion. Finances were my jam, but real estate was definitely a passion of mine. And I get to live a blessed life today because of the choices that I made over these past years through trial and error.
So what does the portfolio look like today?
Today, we have, I want to say 10 properties. We just sold one this year, and I have 2 more that are like just passive investments, like joint ventures that I'm just a part of, but I don't really own. So it's a lot of properties. I mean, I just got all of my property tax bills, and I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like we're adding them all up. And I'm like, yeah, they said buy real estate. They said, like it'll be fun. They said, but it's good. It's great. We're super blessed for it. But.
So I know you talk to a lot of people, right? And you coach a lot of people. And what do you think is like the biggest thing that holds people back from going down this road? Like, what is it? A mindset thing? Is it an apprehension thing? Like what holds? Because I think a lot of people say they want to do this and then they don't take action. So have you identified something that's common?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a few things. Number one is mindset, right? So they believe that they can because nobody has ever showed them. And number two, they're too humble to ask for help. Most people are just so humble. They
That's
won't.
not humble. That's pride.
Or prideful. Yeah, prideful.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They won't say like, hey, I'm struggling, I need help, until it's super too late. And you're like, oh, I wish you would have came to me like just a few months ago or a year ago. I could have prevented all of this for you. And I think that's the hardest thing, is their pride gets in the way. They don't know how to ask for help. And the mindset.
And I want to inject here, right? This is something that I love about you, and that I've witnessed firsthand, that you said a great example of, is you will ask anybody for help. And I've been at events, national events, you guys, like CEOs of companies, billionaires. Tara will stop them as they're like walking down the aisle, with their family, and ask them like for advice. And it's crazy, but how many of you guys are actually willing to do that? Or you got to ask yourself, like, there's so many resources and so much knowledge and so many people who are willing to help. Like Tara, you can call her anytime and she will help you, but you just don't pick up the phone and do it, and you don't take the opportunity. So I think that's something that you walk the walk in that 100%. And I'm always inspired by that. So, okay. So asking for advice, what else?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. The mindset, they think they can't do it, and then they don't know how. right? Because nobody talks to us about finances, about adulting. We just have to grow up and figure this stuff out. And it's hard, right? Like on top of everything else, working two jobs, having kids, having to hold it down for your family, having like inflation and not knowing how to buy a house and what taxes are, all these things that we just are thrown into the mix. And if you don't have somebody that's helping you, coaching along, telling you that it's okay to not be okay sometimes, or it's okay to be crushing it, like own that, you know, and both sides of the spectrum. I've been in a place where we had no money and we were super happy. I've had a ton of money and super happy, and everything in
Well,
between.
and unhappy, money and unhappy, right?
And both of it, I mean, it is what you make of it, right? And if you're stuck in a rut, don't stay there. Like, do something about it. And that's the, like, I really think, especially for us living on an island, in that local mentality of just being so humble and so prideful and not wanting nobody to know that you're struggling, or, you know, nobody to see that, like, I don't have it all figured out. And that's why I ask people, like, I will walk up to Glenn Sanford or anybody and be like, hey, how's it going? Thank you so much for this. What's your number? Let's like connect. I want to ask you more questions. And it's because of that. My network is my net worth. And you're right. Like, what did you say about your the
You're
5
the
people?
you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? And it's the people that you're spending time with upping your average, or are they lowering your average? And you got to be conscious of that.
And I believe that. And only through, like I said, speaking at events, going to events with 101 Financial, went to so many events, getting out of my shell, like traveling even. That has been huge on me understanding that my network, the people who I talk to, the people that coach me along, you know, the people that I coach, it matters, right? And not everybody's going to be your cup of tea, and that's okay. But I think that we all have something special. Like, God gave us all something special, and you have to share that. You have to hone into that and share it. Like, for me, it's all about educating people, inspiring them, empowering them. I love that. I will go and talk to roomfuls of people about, you know, their finances or how to buy a house or whatever it is, because it fills my cup. You know, it makes me happy to do something like that. But I wasn't always that way, right? I was very shy. You would never see me talk. I still get nervous sometimes, but I do it because somebody's going to depend on you to help them, you know, and sis is not your competition. I am just proof that it can be done, right? I am just proof that a small town girl from Kailo Kona can do big things, because I had that dream and I had that vision that I just never gave up on. I knew that that's what I wanted. And still, even till today, I tell Leo all the time, like, let's do another home. Let's do another one. And he's like, what? I said, because in another 10 years, I mean, we could sell off all these homes one at a time and never have to work again and just travel the world. I mean, we could do whatever we want to do. And that's what it, like, for me, it's the delayed gratification. It's doing something today for the tomorrows and for probably many years that I will not be here, and that legacy will live on through our kids and our kids' kids. And you know, I want to have that like 100-year legacy where I'm going to still be remembered for making a difference in somebody's life. And I did that for many years. I have people that I've mentored along the way, and they're crushing it right now. And I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to leave an amazing legacy for their families, because they came and sat with me, because they put their pride aside. They asked for help. They took the course, you know, they took action.
They opened up their finances, right? That's a big one, right? Is letting somebody else look at what the reality of your finances is. And a lot of times we're very, very afraid to do that, or way too prideful to show people what we're actually spending money on, right?
That's the biggest thing right there. Like, oh, I don't want nobody to see. And I'm like, I don't even care what it is. It's just numbers to me. And the numbers tell the story. And I'm going to tell you whether you're positive, negative, or breaking even. You get to decide if you want to keep losing money every day, or if you want to start winning for you and your family. And when you put it like that, like, do you want to lose every day? Like, I didn't want to lose. I'm like, I will do whatever it takes. I will learn. I will sacrifice. I will get into rooms with people that are smarter than me to learn from them. And I still do. I still try and make it a point, right? I go to every event to get into rooms with people that are smarter than me, so that I can learn and apply what I've learned to my life. And that's why I live a blessed life today. I'm not just working, because I remember the struggle of me working hard every day for, you know, X amount of dollars for 8 hours. And that to me was so painful, because I could only make what they paid me every single year. And then I'd get a little raise, and then I'd make a little bit more money. And I was just tired of that. I was tired of that rat race. And that's where the Monopoly and the cash flow game really came into play for me to understand why I was working so hard to build something that nobody could see. Like, you can't see the passive income while you're grinding. You can't see why you're trying to, sacrifice your brand new home to live in an old coffee land shack to build another one. You don't see that. You don't see that you give up your brand new Forerunner after a year and a half or 2 years to buy a house that's old that you're going to renovate and rent. But that home allowed me to buy another property, and bought a property in Indiana. I've never even been to Indiana, right? Like, it allows you so much more opportunities.
So on that, I think this is an important point to make here is you don't have to limit yourself to just here, right? You've expanded your investments and your opportunities in other places. And so what made you do that? Was that an advice thing? Did you learn that from somewhere? What made you think, okay, I want to buy a house in Indiana where I've never been?
Good question. My network, right? So I was at a one-on-one event and I met some people with Done For You, this company that everything was done for you, could invest. And they showed me some performance on some properties. And I was like, $110,000. Like, I couldn't buy a home in Kona for that. What's the worst case scenario? Let's try it. If it works, I mean, great. If it flops, it's not gonna put me under, right? So I decided to buy a house in Indiana, sight unseen. I did everything online with that company. They found me a realtor, a lender, a property manager. All I had to do was, yes, sign here, sign there, wire them some money. And I had an asset that was making money for me from day one. I bought this in 2019. So almost 5 years ago, 5 years. It would have been 5 years on my birthday in October, but I just sold that house. So that was a huge win for me because I had to let go of the control. And it's really hard when you have properties here and you can control them. You can go to them. You can change the light bulb yourself. And if something's wrong, you can go fix it. But up there, you have to trust that these people have your best interests at heart. And when they give you the bill that it costs $120 to change out a light fixture when you could do that for like $40 yourself, it was annoying. But I had cash flow from that property from day one. I was making $200-300 a month after my renters paid the mortgage and the property management company. That was my passive or residual income that was coming in every month. And that was the goal.
And that grew over time, right? I mean, that's year one is $200-300, but that grew over time. And then you get the appreciation of the property when you sell it, right?
100%. And that's where, for me, it was like every year I was making, $200-400 a month passive. And then at the end, like just this year, I just sold that home for double what I bought it for. And so I made 6 figures by doing, like, I've never even been to the property. I don't even know what it looks like in person. And that's why real estate for me was a no-brainer. That was from Monopoly days, 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. And if I need to sell a house, sell a house. And that put me in position. Now I bought 2 more lots or building 1 more home. We just finished one last year. And of course, as soon as we were done, I was kind of bored and I was like, let's build another one. And by the grace of God, Leo is on board with me and we get to do it together. It's stressful and fun all in one. But he's on board, and that was the goal was, hey, let me trade in the one for the mainland for the one on the Big Island, because the Big Island has higher equity. You don't get the cash flow like how you would get in the mainland, because I was probably up to like $400 or $500 a month on that one. But imagine, like we have a bunch of homes here now, and the goal was always passive income. Let's say we have 9 homes right now. If all of them we're renting out at $2,000 a month, that's $18,000 a month. I mean, we're not going to put that in our pocket. Let's say a third of that, maybe after you pay off, your property taxes, your mortgages, all that stuff.
But who would like to have $6,000 a month in passive income? Would that be helpful? Yeah.
If we were getting, and there's a lot of variables to that. It's not like we're making that right now, but eventually we will be. Or if you look back at it, what was the home's worth 10 years ago? And what is it worth today? And then if you look into the future, what are these homes going to be worth in 10 years, right? Like we just saw what it was in the last 3 years. That was crazy, insane. And if you owned a home, you instantly had equity by just owning it. We didn't do anything more to our homes. We just owned it. And now they're all worth more because of that. And that was the whole monopoly, cash flow, get out of the rat race. So eventually, like we do collect $6,000 a month in just rental. That's people's take-home pay for months and months of
year. So
right?
some people, yeah, some people have to yearly, yeah, that's their monthly salary for a decent paying job in Kona. So yeah.
So what that does for me is it buys back my time, right? Like I don't have to work a job anymore for money because my homes are bringing in the cash flow for me every single month, every 30 days. And that was the vision, that was the goal, and I'm living that dream today. And that's the blessing. It's like I did everything that I dreamt of when I was 9 years old playing Monopoly. I mean, when that was just a little seed planted in my mind, to reading about it and then being about it and now doing it. It's insane that my life is what it is today. But it changed when, you have people that really support you and like see the dream with you and like live it with you. That changed the game for me for sure.
Let's talk about that. So you mentioned Robert Kiyosaki's book, right? And you can have mentors from afar, right? Have you ever met him? Probably not, right?
No.
But I mean, you probably consider him a mentor or a very influential person in your life. And you mentioned Alan Akina. There's some other people that really impactful and shifted your mindset and teaching you something or pushing you to take some action.
Yeah, I mean, the I probably can count on one hand all the people that are super influential from you. And number one is God, first and foremost. Heavenly Father is he provides like no other. So I totally tapped in, and I'm just so connected and so grateful for that, first and foremost. Second of all, my mom. She's my biggest cheerleader, has always been. I've watched that woman work her butt off to raise us, and through it all, above everything, love on everybody with all her heart and soul. If I could just be half the woman that she is, I'd be super stoked on life. The third person is my high school counselor. Her name is Deborah Ramsey, and she wasn't supposed to be my counselor. There was supposed to be a different lady that was supposed to be my counselor in ninth grade. I was going down the wrong path, did a lot of bad things. I got arrested in school for selling weed. I would show up to school stoned every day. I mean, I was just going down the wrong path. And she took me under her wing, and she believed in me, and she helped me through some hard times in high school. Like, I don't know, what was I, 15, 16 years old, um, and just totally helped me get back on a right path. So I was able to like graduate with maybe 2 classes senior year, and she just truly believed in me, told me like you should become a x-ray technician. And I was like, okay, do they make a lot of money? Yes, they do. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do that. And I didn't end up doing that, but she was very pivotal for me at that time when I was a teenager. And then of course Alan Aquino, because he like gave me an opportunity to be able to share what I knew, what I learned. And sweating, like so nervous, talking in front of people, but he gave me that like platform, and he believed in me, and he would challenge me. He would like tell me, Tara, the goal is 5 homes in 5 years. And at the time I'd be like, what? Like, how
He's
is that
crazy.
possible? Like,
Yeah.
really? And I did it because that was the challenge, that was the goal, that's what we were working towards. And just the support, and he never gave me any money. Like I call him my rich dad, like rich dad poor dad, because my real dad, I love him to death. He would give me money all the time because he just wasn't really present in our life. So he would always give me money, but never taught me anything about money, right? And then
Mhm.
my rich dad, Alan, who is not my real dad, he taught me everything about money, but never gave me any. So it was like that rich dad, poor dad in real life for me. And then another one is my uncle Rupert, my mom's brother. I always looked up to him because he was like the builder in our family. He helped me build 2 out of the 4 or 5 homes that we built so far. And I'm just always grateful for him. He put up $30,000 for me when I built my very first home, because the lumber company at the time said that I could not be bonded through them and I could not build this house if we didn't put up an extra 30 grand. And I did not have even $1 to my name. And so he put up money for me. He helped me build my 2 homes, and just pure like out of love. And by the third home, he was like, hey, I'm gonna have to start charging you if you're gonna build more homes. And I was like, uncle, I got this. Like, you taught me so much. And he's always just been like kind of like a dad I never had, like just a good mentor for me. And then the last person is Leo. Like, my other half has been there for me through thick and thin, has seen me at my worst and loved me at my best and everything in between. And so having him by my side is like, it's like rocket fuel to be able to know that like I can throw out any crazy dream and he'll be like, okay, I got you. Like, whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. And he will kill himself, work 2 jobs, work on the weekends, work on my homes, work on building our homes. He does all the finished work for me. He does everything for me and loves me unconditionally. And that right there is like, those people are like my village. And they say it takes a village. 100%. And I'm sure there's a million more people that I am not mentioning right now, but those are the ones that stick out, that have helped me and seen me and pushed me when I needed that push.
I think that's an important lesson, and you've mentioned it a couple of times, the importance of Leo and having a partner in everything that you've done. And I definitely feel the same way in my life. Is like when you find the right person to do it with, it's not 1 + 1 = 2, right? It's 1 + 1 = 10, and you exponentially increase your ability to be successful and achieve things if you have the right person in your life. And that might be something that, unfortunately, I think a lot of our friends and peers struggle with, right? Is like they have big dreams, they have big goals, and then they don't have that support system or that cheerleader and that just faithful person that will say like, hey, let's give it a shot, versus telling you all the reasons you shouldn't and why it's a bad idea. And that's so huge. So I'm glad you confirmed that, because I definitely can see that. And that's a huge lesson. So with all of this, with all the business stuff going on, all the coaching stuff going on, having 2 girls and they're in their prime busy years in high school and stuff, how do you balance all of that? People always talk about like work-life balance and stuff. And is there any, hacks, tricks, mindset things that you do to balance all the stuff that you got going on?
In my life, there is no work-life balance, like zero. You just do what you gotta do and you just get it done, and you have to take some time for yourself. I realize that now as I'm getting older is I used to put everybody first and like take care of all of my clients or students or people, that I mentored, and it just, I got burned out so much because I wasn't filling my cup. And Leo reminds me that all the time, to take some time. Like we just went to the beach the other day. It was his birthday. He just wanted nothing more than to be at this secluded beach, barbecue with his family. It was just fun. And that's the thing, you got to remember to balance everything out. Like you can't just grind and grind and grind. And for a long time, I just worked really hard to not like feel the pain of what I was going through, to not like be in the reality of the hardship that I was going through. And I pulled my head up now and I'm like, whoa, I accomplished a lot. But it was because I was just being hard at like, I don't want to deal with nobody, just work, and not have to deal with stuff. And now I'm realizing like, whoa, Tara, take a step back, take some time for you. And I'm doing that now, where I'm like, you know what, let me work on me for a little bit. Everybody else can wait. Like I'm not teaching any financial courses right now, but I do have people that I've taught, and they're going to teach you, and they're going to teach you everything that I taught. So, but all of this is good to know, because there might be a work-life balance for most people if you have really good systems and you can say no. So now I realize I need to say, if it's not a heck yes, it's an absolute heck no. And I'm saying no a lot so that I can say yes to myself, because I can't pour from an empty cup. And I poured out for many years with many families, many individuals, many people. I gave them everything that I had. So now I'm like, okay, I got to recharge first. So I get to take a little bit of time, and that's how I balance it, is like hit it hard. And then, when I'm on, when I'm off, and just take that like with some patience and grace, and know that you're still going to work, you're still going to get things done, but now on my time. Now I'm going to be a little bit more selfish. So my best advice is, yeah, make sure you take time for you so that you can keep doing what you love to do. Find your passion and do that. Like, don't let anybody steal your joy. You create that. You have the choice. So
I think a lot of that sometimes, I mean, my philosophy on that is, people think of like work-life balance as like a 50-50 thing, but really I think it can also be healthy to be 60-40 in the work direction, or maybe even 80-20 at sometimes. So you can go 80-20 on the family and the personal stuff, especially in the future, right? Just like investing money. If we invest our time properly now, and we invest more of our time to create freedom in the future, then we're going to have a way more freedom in the future. So that's okay. I'm in your camp there. Is you don't have to have, I think work-life balance is overrated sometimes. If you're going 50-50 forever, you're going to end up average and mediocre forever, versus sometimes creating some imbalance for uneven results in the future, right?
well, and that's where like now I shouldn't even feel guilty that I take a lot of time off. Like my kids are on
And you
summer.
do. I know this for a fact.
I am on summer too, just because my kids are on summer. But that's because I worked really, really hard to now I can take that, like you're saying, work maybe 60% of the time as hard as you can and then enjoy it later, like 80%, whatever it is. I just feel like that's why I grinded so hard. That's why I worked so hard to now, I want to go have lunch with my friends. I have lunch with my friends. I want to go take a trip. Let's go take a trip. Like we do whatever we want and we still work hard. Trust me, Leo works 10 times harder than I do. And I get to like reap all these benefits now, but it's because of what the goal and the foundation and everything that we laid these last 10 years and really from when I was 9 years old, just knowing what vehicle it was. For me, it was always real estate. And now I see it. Now I'm like, whoa, thank God we bought that lot 3 years ago. Thank God we bought that. Thank God we built this now. Like now I see the
delayed gratification.
yes.
Yeah.
And it was hard. People think like, oh, they make a lot of money. No, we don't. We worked really hard and I don't have a lot of money. I make my money work for me. So I don't have any money in my accounts. Like they are all out there working and for eventually like in later on down the line, once maybe 3-4 years, all of our kids are done graduating and we'll be empty nesters and we can just travel around the world. Like my goal is to just live in our little tiny home, have that be our home base and then minimalize everything and just travel and experience.
I love it. So this is a good segue to wrapping up. So I think you would agree, right, that if you looked at Tara 10 years ago and you asked her where she would be, there's no way you would imagine Tara today, right? I mean, would that answer be anywhere near where you think you are today?
Absolutely not, because that was in the middle of the thick
Worst
of
of it.
divorce and short sale and all those things. And that was the hardest time of my life, right? Because at that time, I thought that was the hardest time. And if you would have told me in 10 years, you're going to be living the dream, you're going to have, impact a ton of people, you're going to have multiple properties, you're going to be investing in 4 greenhouses, maybe 1 red hotel one day, I would have never, it's not that I wouldn't believe it, but I would, in that moment, I would have been like, I can't even like see right now. I don't even know what's happening in my world. So today, 10 years later, looking back at that moment, it's everything I could ever dream of and more. It's everything that I always wanted. And I get to live this blessed life today, but it wasn't always easy. There was a ton of sacrifices. There was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but I wouldn't have changed a thing because everything I went through led me to where I am today. And everybody's story is different, but
that's why this is a hard question to answer though, is what does the next 10 years look like? Tara in 2030, 34, what does life look like, or what do you want it to look like? What is your plan? What is your goal?
I really think I'm going to grind it out for the next couple of years and really go all in on building more homes for my community. I really see a huge problem with the lack of homes just on the island for families. And if I can just provide 1 home a year, which I'm doing right now, 1 home a year, maybe even 2 if we get like super motivated. And if I can do that and be part of the solution, to me, that would mean everything to me. And if I can do maybe about 4 or 5 more homes, maybe, and maybe sell 1, keep 1 as a rental, sell 1, keep 1, do something like that. And that's where I need your help. If you guys have a park place or a boardwalk that you guys want me to sell for you so that I can build these homes for people in the community, let me know, because I'm looking for people that are on board and want to help me with that journey, because I'm going to take this next journey. I'm going to go all in on myself and just like me and Leo, I probably didn't tell him yet, but I just want to keep building homes. He probably knows that, but he, it's hard on him because he has to do all the work. But I do want to make a difference in my community by providing a place. And even if they can't buy the brand new home, maybe they can rent one, until they're ready to buy. And to me, giving back, going full circle on that, because I remember how much of a struggle it was for me, especially with my 2 girls. And if it wasn't for my family, everybody just helping me out, like my whole village that raised my kids for me when they were young. I mean, my whole family just pitched in and helped me with everything so that I could just work and work and work. And now it's my time to kind of give back and be present in the moment, but legit like do something where it helps my community. It helps families on the island. I just think there's a higher calling for me, and I'll just buy and sell real estate for people who want to work with me, all my friends and family. But I really think that that's the next 10 years, is for the next maybe 3-4 years, just build as many homes as I can, and then truly like start traveling around the world, maybe buying some properties out of state. Now that I did Indiana, we just went to Alaska. I wouldn't mind buying something maybe in Alaska, or different parts of the world, even Japan, things like that. So I have a ton of goals. And the cool thing about goals is we write out, so in December of the year, we write out everything that we accomplished in this year, and then we write what we want for the next year. And it is insane how many of the things that we think about in December, and by the time like midway of the next year, half of them are already like achieved. And it's just from a thought, from a prayer, from a wish. Just bet on yourself, believe in yourself, and just do the damn thing. That's what it boils down to.
Take action, right? Take action.
Yes.
All right. So any final thoughts? I mean, I for somebody who may be younger or, old, but wants to make a shift in their financial situation and change the direction that they've been going in, like what is one closing thought, one piece of advice that you would leave them with?
I would say be open to something new and exciting, and find yourself somebody that can coach you through. Like for me, it was 1-1 Financial. It's still a solid company that I recommend to people as their financial foundation. Just like building a home, you need a foundation that's solid, because the rest of the home is going to be standing on that. So that would be number one, is get some type of education, even if it's not 1-1, if it's something else, whether you're a Dave Ramsey fan or whatever it is. Go get your education on your finances, because they don't teach that in school. So you're going to have to pay for that. Pay whatever it costs. You're not going to be sad that you invested in yourself. You're going to be super grateful that you did it. And it's going to change your life if you apply what you've learned. And that's what I've learned with that. And then, find what you're really passionate about, because I remember working a job because I thought I had to work for money. But when I really found something that I was passionate about, my income just was exponential after that, because I put everything into it. It wasn't like, oh, I got to get up and go to work now. It was like, yes, let's do this. What can I do now? What can I do? What's next? So find what you're passionate about and do that. Bet on yourself, and take time to learn about yourself and grow into who you are, because a lot of times we just get up, go to work, and pay bills, and it's that vicious cycle where we never get to really truly dig into what you love, what you want to be, who you want to be. And there's nothing better than knowing yourself and just tapping into those gifts that God has given to you, because it's such a waste at the end of your life if you didn't ever tap into it and you die with it and you don't share it with the world. They say that the graveyard is the most richest place in the world, because a lot of people die with their gifts and talents and they never share it. So get out there and share that and help people, love on people. Stay blessed. That's all.
Super simple. Just love on people and try and do the right thing, right? Super simple.
100%.
How can people get a hold of you if they have any questions?
Don't. Just kidding. You can call me. My number is 808-989-0229. My Instagram is at tara.shim. So you can message me there. I live in Kailua Kona. I sell real estate. I invest. So I'm not hard to find, but my time is absolutely limited. So if you do want to have a conversation with me, we have to have coffee or lunch, because I am a energy person. I need to see your energy and vibe with you. And if I don't, that's okay too. It's just I love to.
Tara will never turn down a lunch date, so just invite her out to lunch. Yeah.
So drink coffee and eat chai and eat lunch all day, every day. That's normally how I meet with people. Is just we talk about what their goals are, where they want to be, what they want to do, what they want to accomplish, and I usually give them a plan for that. And it's simple, it's really easy to find me, and I love helping families. I love helping people. That's one of my joys. I think that's just the education part of me, is I love to make a difference in people's lives. So thanks, Dylan, for having me on today.
Thank you for taking the time, and I owe you lunch. How's that? Sounds like a deal?
Sounds good.
All right, Tara. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next month.